Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Grasshopper, I have paid the fee in full. So we'll see what happens when we get up there. In other words, I'll just send them 150. Evening, everyone. Good evening, Sue Ellen, 5B5. So, can you all see and hear me, which is really important? And there's a couple of things I want to talk. At the end of the show, I'll speak to you about a couple of other things because I need to start putting this out to people. There is a number of things happening in the background. Can you make sure you like this, subscribe, and send it out, right? There's a number of different people sending me stuff to do with the election frauds in America, right? And especially Dominion. Now, it's fairly obvious to me that it's getting out there in a big way, but there's some things that I want to show you. There's probably a little clip I'm going to try and show you, and it's really important that everyone who understands what's going on. If anyone out there thinks nothing's happening, you are obviously absorbed into propaganda and mainstream media. And some of the people that are popping off Trump, I'm not going to say their names, but people I have previously mentioned, I don't want to say their name, right? But I've started to seriously suspect that in some way they're involved with promoting propaganda. And I can't say who they are. Not that I can't, I don't want to, right? But what's going on at the moment, I don't know if Keir Starmer being out in China is... There's something going on where people need to have conversations with... I'm going to show you something in a minute, but in a skiff. Do you all know what a skiff is? A skiff is like a room that is lead lined, which has got electronic blocking information, which has got, like meshed copper, all around of things, and then systems inside so no one can record and no one can hear what's going on outside of that room, right? If you're just in a normal house like this, they can hear everything that's going on, right? Through various means. If they're not listening through your phone or your PC, if you're really of interest to them, they can remotely listen, right? And they did this to me over 30 years ago, right? And they was listening via a skybox, a standard skybox that was sent out by Sky, an installation. So Sky must have known that was it. It was a hardware intervention by Sky, right? Now I can't tell you how I know that. I just know, right? Starmer, Jimmy Savile protector, Harmer is finished. Traitors will be held to account. So something's definitely going on in terms of Starmer going out to China. I don't know if you've just seen this, but China has now said that British citizens can have visa-free entry into China. I find that shocking. Why the British would get visa-free entry into China, right? But they are, and I think that is really concerning. Anyway, see what's happened at 255 from Resistance GP. Yeah, no, I did see what happened with Resistance GB and Wilsey. And he carried out a citizen's arrest, which is perfectly legal for what happened. And then the police arrested him. He has a great opportunity to sue. It's all on camera. He's got a great opportunity to sue the police in a big way. Right, before I do anything else, I think I'm going to go on there and see if I can bring this up. There's two elements that I want to show you. The first thing is to show you this on the screen. I've just sent this out. No, I won't. I'll show you. I'll take you directly. Hopefully I can take you directly to it. Let me go and see if I can find it again. Right, so I'm going to show you. This is on Truth Social, and then I'm going to go back and show you some other bits, right? Hopefully you'll be able to see this as I do it. Let's go onto there. This is really important, right? Now, I sent this out earlier on today. Might have been the early hours of the morning, right? So this is Truth Social. This is President Trump's actual account that you're seeing on the screen, right? He's put a link in there, and I have had a suspicion for some time that this account, the skiff, right, is something to do with the White Hats, right? In other words, the good guys. They've allowed that account, and the people who are following it, I've noticed, are all truth tellers and not being drawn into propaganda, right? But the skiff says this: Maria Zack testified about the stolen 2020 election operation connected to Obama when he diverted $400 million from the infamous pallets of cash sent to Iran, funneling through the Dubai embassy to operatives in Italy and Merrill Lynch, Geneva, Switzerland. In return, Italian officials at Leonardo SPA used military satellites to help hack US voting machines, flipping votes from Trump to Biden using CIA-developed tools like Hammer and Scorecard, along with numerous other methods of fraud and manipulation. China reportedly coordinated the whole operation, providing the tech, backbone, and bribes to corrupt Americans. The CIA oversaw it, the FBI covered it up, all to install Biden as a puppet. This is the global election fraud cartel, right? So remember what I said when we was at court in Chester, and I expressed on a number of occasions, these people are political criminals, right? This is the global election fraud cartel and the real threat against American democracy and the rest of the world. Not just in America, but in the UK, London has used and did use for the election of Sadiq Khan Dominion machines. Most people were shocked that he won that election. There were also 11,000 votes, which basically, so we don't know how many of them were switched, but 11,000 votes, which were I do not consent, right? Majorly, I want people to understand something else here, is that these frauds have gone on for a very long time. Corruption in elections or at elections has gone on for hundreds of years. This is not new, right? But the level of cover-up to election fraud and criminality around elections. And by the way, I'm just making sure people know this. You allow them to get away with it by not voting, because when you do not vote, you are increasing their chances of getting away with a fraud, right? Just to make sure everyone's aware of that. Now, what I'm going to do now is clip to this one. Hopefully, you're going to see it. So again, it's the same thing, but this is now on Twitter. So President Trump has retruthed this. He's telling you it's true, and I'm going to cover a couple of other little bits in a minute, which is just as important. But there's a video on here, right? Now, this is part of a video that I'm going to... This one is 25 minutes long, but it's important. I've put the full link to this video, which is on Rumble, right, in the edit of this. And I've shown this before. I've covered what she's talking about before. If you remember, I also covered the FISA, FISA conspiracies that come back to London, and how the British was involved in this. So if you understand how the British are involved, and then think about Keir Starmer, think about the visits to London recently of Obama, Bill Gates, and many other people meeting in effect in secrecy in London with Keir Starmer at number 10, right? You've also got to understand that Estonia is massively involved in pushing and keep pushing the Ukraine war with Russia. Estonia is one of the 5 inaugural nations involved with what's known as Digital Nations 5. You can go and research that and bring that up on Google. And the UK was where the inaugural conference in 2014 happened, and it happened at Buckingham Palace, right? None of this is fiction. The other group of people involved are Israel, right? And then there's 2 others, which I've shown you. So I want you to understand all of this is about controlling elections, but what they're doing is they're going to make it electronic. And that was part of what Digital D5 is all about. It keeps the political criminals at the top in place, and there's nothing people can do about it. Now, again, I'm going to quickly show you this one.
Firm is in possession of documents from me that include the moving of pallets of cash by Barack Obama through the Dubai embassy. Our United States government CIA agent was present. $400 million were moved.
Maria Zach. And this is talking about the elections. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Maria Zach from Nations in Action, and we are an organization that's devoted to transparent government, transformative politicians, trustworthy parties, and truthful media. The Italian Secret Service actually received information from Arturo's girlfriend, he considers wife because they've been together so long. Her uncle is part of the Italian intelligence services. She said, Uncle, Arturo came home and said he doesn't understand why we're stealing America's election. They immediately go to Leonardo and investigate. Arturo confesses. The Italian intelligence services reach out to us November 18th. They said something happened. We're watching a coup d'etat in the United States of America. They were fearful of meeting with anyone. There were 2 affidavits that were delivered into Congress, and they were delivered from Italian citizens that contacted us.
Right, so again, I'm going to play this. It goes on for a while, but you need to listen to this because President Trump has actually retweeted it as a retruth. It comes from, again, another guy on Twitter or X called The Skiff. But people really do need to understand this, right? This has been sent out in effect by President Trump.
Intelligence agencies had been trying to reach out because their country had already fallen. And that is what is happening around the world. The intelligence agencies are watching corruption and China come in to their countries and buying off politicians and hiding things and using fraud to do amazing efforts to take over and own property and, in some instances, countries. So today I'm going to play for you an audio tape that should shock you all. It'll shock America. This is the first place I have chosen to testify in. I could have walked into any state. I know my way around. We've already proven my credentials. I know government affairs. I can walk in, and when I play this for you, and why Kansas? Because Kansas was a pro-Trump victor of electors. But I would argue you don't know. You do not know the real result of your election. You also probably have not been made aware of what was occurring in Italy. Leonardo, the defense contracting firm, had some strange occurrences happening with people coming in and out that the intelligence services witnessed, of people coming from Frankfurt into the Italian U.S. embassy in Rome on Via Veneto. This instance enabled individuals to come forward and supposedly, according to the Italian intelligence services, work with Leonardo to change the results of the United States election. But more frightening is that they claim there were 47 to 52 presidential elections around the world, and they now have telemetry experts, over 200, that speak foreign languages that are all different. So what you are dealing with is a very calculated attempt to take down presidencies and control countries. So this audio that I'm about to play for you is from an individual who was a member of the CIA and the State Department. His name is Larry Johnson. Many of you may not know, but I am the person not only who hand-delivered that letter to Donald Trump on Christmas Eve in 2020, telling him who stole the election, where they stole it, and how they stole it. And my number one goal was to bring back one of the people who was in the satellite center. His name was Arturo Delia. My goal was to rescue him and bring him over to America because he was willing to testify. There were people that would not assist, that I thought would assist, but what was most shocking was this voice recording that I will play now.
Maria, hi. Larry Johnson. We spoke yesterday. Listen, I needed to see if you would help us get in touch with the lawyer, because after you talked to him yesterday, he went missing. We have people in Italy now and are ready to have the person that's in jail. We've got a national security team that can extradite him and bring him back safely to the United States. So that's already lined up. There's no need for an airplane because the airplane is going to be provided and witness protection provided. If you could call me at your convenience, 301-442-5957.
That's our United States government, supposedly, national security, that are going to go rescue Arturo Delia. Anyone know about that? Probably not. Anyone? Because most Americans had this truth hidden from them, that there was an operation, supposedly, but the number one thing that they were looking for in the beginning of that message was where the lawyers were and the people who did the affidavits who were being hunted to be killed. These are brave people around the world that are trying to tell the truth and having great difficulty with the United States government apparatus.
Right, so brave people telling the truth about election fraud and the corruption of our election system. Bearing in mind, myself and others and you, as a team, stood up in literally in Chester in a Crown Court and told two corrupt judges who were swapped out from another two judges of exactly what was going on and who is involved with that. In other words, who then wanted to continue with that fraud and that corruption. Yes, Reform UK, right?
Telling the truth is not easy, and people are risking their lives. So that was the transcript. so you ask, okay, what proof is there? Well, I would definitely consider that, sir, Mr. Chairman and members. That is called proof. That needs an investigation. Where is our law enforcement? It should be at the local, state, and federal levels immediately to investigate Larry Johnson and the activities that he did in the United States during this whole event. You know, everyone says if you see something, say something, right? We're all supposed to see something, say something, and then what happens? You get blasted. We had patterns of illegal activity across the country. We had people not matching signatures on the ballots. We had witnesses galore filling out affidavits. I'm so proud of the team at Nations in Action because they filed many, many, many affidavits. They saw the computers actually online and there are photographs. So if anyone says the machines weren't online, that is false. So these witnesses that have come forward have also identified over 35,000 illegal cross-county voting just in Georgia alone, and that relates to President Trump's talk with Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, where he was saying, I know that there are votes there that were illegally cast. He was right. He is actually vindicated in the proof today because the cross-reference with the state documents and the U.S. Postal Service feed shows that these people did not live where they actually voted. Those votes should have never been counted. Now we have illegal votes that are cast using fake residences and business addresses, photocopied identical ballots and stacks fed into tabulators, and many fake, unfolded, unmailed absentee ballots. Of the thousands of affidavits just filed in Georgia alone, would you like to know how many arrests were made? Zero. Zero. All those great citizens who we ask to do us a favor and help us do our right to vote, to go and volunteer to work polls, had no assistance at all in having a free and fair election, and they witnessed the failures of America. So now you should be asking me, who are the people in Italy, Maria? Who are they that actually coordinated and conspired? Because this is where we really break things down and show you the proof of what occurred. Stefano Serafini on your left is actually a member of our State Department who retired just days before the election. It is said that he, in an intercept, it was picked up that he was retiring so he wouldn't lose his pension should he be caught. He was coordinating with General Claudio Graziano. General Graziano is also at the time was the EU commander. And they were meeting across the street at the St. Regis Hotel. And it was with Ignazio Moncada, who is the CEO of Fatah, which is Fatah SPA, which is a subsidiary of Leonardo, one of the largest defense contracting firms in the world. They are the largest in Italy, and they receive numerous United States military and intelligence contracts. That should frighten everybody right now. Now, they were meeting in his hotel, and in March of 2020, they were coordinating this plan. The Italian intelligence services actually provided me with the cell phone number for the go order, and it goes to General Graziano. So then you ask, well, they concoct the plan. They have to go get the IT guys. Who's going to do it? Well, they already had a guy. His name is Charles Robinson. He is a telemetry expert. He came in a week prior to the election of November 2020. He uploaded mil-spec software, and he had traveled from Frankfurt. He was working in there with Arturo D'Elia. He is an IT guru in Italy. He's known as the smartest. The Italian Secret Service actually received information from Arturo's girlfriend, he considers wife because they've been together so long. Her uncle is part of the Italian intelligence services. She said, Uncle, Arturo came home and said he doesn't understand why we're stealing America's election. They immediately go to Leonardo and investigate. Arturo confesses. What they don't know, what Arturo doesn't know, and anyone else the Italian intelligence services, with the help of the Finanza Guardia, were conducting the investigation, and they said they were there to check for financial fraud. So they were checking all the other employees saying, hey, you got anything? What's going on around here? Any financial fraud? And one guy was a little nervous and he said, I don't have financial fraud, but something strange happened in the satellite center I'd like to confess. There was actually a second person in his name we had named Beta. Beta confessed to the Italian Secret Service, corroborating the entire story that Arturo Delia told to the intelligence services of Italy. This is Arturo. Arturo was hiding in the facility for 18 days while I tried to rescue him. I am just a citizen. I am not agency. I shouldn't have to go do this for my country, but I will bleed for my country. And I had an opportunity to bring the witness and try to rescue him before he would be murdered leaving Italy. For 18 days, we hid him. And I personally funded and took money out of my retirement to do this. I can tell you that I was at the last straw, made a recommendation in the beginning of December to drop an article in Italy because I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't get to anyone. And I have 30 years of experience, and I had to wonder, why is it that a lot of the elected officials I went to are so afraid of me coming out with this information? It didn't matter if they were Democrats or Republicans, because I know everyone. I know Stacey Abrams. I know Brian Kemp. I know them all, and they have known me for years, and they have known me to be a very honest person. I will bleed for my country, and I will not cover for my party or any individual that I consider a friend, because we are at war, and that is what America deserves. So I dropped the recommendation and strategy to drop the article in Italy. The day the article dropped, all hell broke loose in Italy. They immediately put out for the arrest of Arturo Delia, and they arrested and jailed him. They fired their head of cybersecurity for the country, and they fired the head of telecom for the country. Oh, just on one day when I dropped one little article. Isn't that amazing? I'm sure that's just totally pure coincidence. So the timeline. We did an extensive timeline of what was occurring as this was happening. We knew that the meetings were taking place from March of 2020 and then into the summer. November, the first week of November, the crew arrived to the U.S. Embassy. There were data thrusts during the election because they said they couldn't keep up with all the votes and switching them. It was through the use of the Galileo satellite that was taken offline to load the mil-spec software. And let me make it very clear. I also own an IT company. I have friends who are both SEAL Team 6 former members that are communications and IT specialists. You have a document in your folder that explains how the satellites can be used. There are many methods. Anyone get Dish Network? Anyone get satellite TV? It's the same thing. So I'm going to make it real easy for you because I tell you, IT can be a bit complex. And so they loaded the software, they used it. Arturo goes home and tells his significant other. The Italian intelligence services reach out to us November 18th. They said something happened. We're watching a coup d'etat in the United States of America. They were fearful of meeting with anyone.
A coup d'etat in America, a coup d'etat in London with Sadiq Khan, a coup d'etat in most of the elections or some of the elections in the UK, where they get rid of ballots after 1 year. It's important that people understand this.
The Italian government heads changed and did the arrests of the Sparkle Telecom and CERT. And then the CIA operatives fled immediately from the embassy the same day as the article dropping. That is not coincidence. This is one of the gentlemen, if you notice the sneaker, same guy. That picture is from the United States Rome Embassy. Nobody can get that picture unless you're Italian intelligence services. The camera is super high up. It is a secured facility, secured item. They sent me that photo. They were sending me documents and sending me photos because they knew there was nobody in the United States Rome Embassy that they could trust. And that is a sad, sad, sad day for America to wake up to this reality. It is not partisan, I will remind everyone. This is a whole different operation and a whole different war we are fighting. These are the other operatives that were fleeing on that day. They told the ticket agent that they were returning back to Frankfurt, which confirmed everything. Leonardo actually had their facility, their secure facility for all of their cloud services in Frankfurt, and they recently moved it. But at the time, it was in Frankfurt. They're also looking at renaming Leonardo and breaking it into pieces as we speak. Sound familiar? Maybe something that used to be called Facebook? So then we have the gentleman in the center. There's a gentleman with a very large bicep. And you would say, why do we care about that gentleman's bicep? We care a lot about that gentleman because that gentleman is out of Canada. He is not an American, he is Canadian. These gentlemen, this one in particular, we received a tip immediately that this gentleman, Charles Robinson, had confessed to stealing races in Arizona as early 2000, including...
Do you now all understand why it is that there is such a conflict at the moment, not with the Canadian and US citizens, but between the two governments and what's been going on and how close they was to China? Do you all understand currently, and there is a discussion going to be going on, hopefully, about part of this sometime this month with another channel, which I'm not going to go into, and about Berto. And it now has been declared, which I will show you on screen, that the group operating the Alberta independence movement is in discussions with the US State Department about independence, right? There's a lot more going on in the background of what you... So these people are being dismantled, and one way to dismantle the British, or the only way to dismantle the British, is to void the Acts of Union, and the British don't exist anymore, and nor does any of the legislation that has actively killed England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Ireland, and Cornwall, because that will be removed.
Janet Napolitano's race for governor. He returned back to Canada with a brand new sports car and confessed to a fellow coworker while he was working at one point for Dominion. Then he was not working for Dominion. Then he went back to Dominion, and then he left and was working for another company. This gentleman has an extraordinary large bicep. He's very well known by this source. This source worked with Canadian law enforcement, who seem to be a lot more willing than our federal agencies. And they started tracking the gentleman. The sources claim that this is the guy who is so brilliant as a telemetry expert that he was able to load the software and change the votes. He now has 3 women, and there are people hunting him because people have followed my work. And sadly, some of them have done things that are, in my opinion, treasonous. They have gone to Italy under the guise of collecting money to go do an investigation on Italy. And they've taken this information and gone and gotten massages, rented villas, and they've also gotten people inspired to go hunt this guy down, as well as Stefano Serafini from the U.S. Embassy. Serafini is still in Italy. He does not return to his McLean, Virginia home because he knows there are Americans looking for him. In my opinion, that was very wrong to incite Americans to go after and hunt these people. But Americans are desperate for politicians and law enforcement to do something. So I beg of you to work with law enforcement and make something happen after this presentation, because there's too much proof to not have it happen. Now for Alexander Nix. That name should be familiar to all of you. He was very involved in races in 2016 and
Make sure you listen to this part carefully.
prior. He was involved in the Cruz campaign. He was involved in the Trump campaign. And he was fined and part of the use of people's data from Facebook, a huge, massive fine that Mark Zuckerberg had to pay. And I always found it odd. Why would Mark Zuckerberg be working with the IT guy from Cambridge Analytica out of London, and yet they're working to help Republicans? That doesn't seem to make sense, because Mr. Zuckerberg seems to be on the other side. Well, the Italian intelligence services immediately started giving me downloads on all the people, including sending me their picture and phone numbers out of their phones, showing and verifying that they not only knew who they were, they had relationships. One person actually drove Alexander Nix to the CEO's office at Leonardo in Italy. Now, you must ask yourself, why would an IT guy who has a voter technology actually be going to a defense contracting firm in Italy? Doesn't make sense, does it? No, it doesn't. And so you have to ask, okay, so Alexander Nix, is he MI6 like the Italian intelligence services says? Was he in meetings in America with CISA, the Security Association that was ensuring our elections? I am told that he was actually given permission and attendance of our election integrity and security meetings in the United States federal government as late as October of 2020. And he is a British citizen. He is not American, and he ran an IT company as his cover called Cambridge Analytica, where there are movies by Brittany Kaiser and others, Chris Wiley, who are two very liberal Democrats who came out, they saw something and they said something. And these people know something is wrong, and they have written books, and I highly recommend reading those. So while this was going on, the Italian intelligence services started telling me how things were breaking down in Italy, and the Italian government was going to collapse. I am not one who's ever received an intelligence briefing in my life. I was a lobbyist, state lobbyist. You know many of people just like me. And so all of a sudden I'm being told that Joe Biden called Matteo Renzi, who was the former prime minister prior to the collapse of the government, and he said, I need you to take down Giuseppe Conte as the prime minister. Within 3 weeks, Giuseppe Conte was down and Italy was in total chaos. That is proof that the intel intercepts that I was receiving were factual. Now, Conte was not real happy about going down, but he was given millions of dollars, we were told, in a California bank. These are banking issues as well. There were movements and pallets of cash, including the information that I supplied to Special Counsel John Durham. You're the first government agency that I am making this very clear to everyone. John Durham is in possession of documents from me that include the moving of pallets of cash by Barack Obama through the Dubai embassy. Our United States government CIA agent was present. $400 million were moved from there with the help of Italians, and the Finanza Guardia in Italy knows. And they supplied the names of the people in the room, and now we need you to get your United States senators and your congressional delegation, and I don't care what party they are, and they need to work together, because stealing from the American families in Kansas is wrong. And they stole $400 million and put it in the Merrill Lynch in Geneva, Switzerland. That is evidence that is sitting before us today. This story gets worse and more horrifying for the citizens of Kansas and America. So we knew that the plot was going to continue. They were going to try to kill Arturo Delia. We knew that they were chasing the Italians that were helping us. They have been threatened. They have been in car chases. They have had their cars roll over and people injured. And there have been many Italians who have been murdered. 5 government officials in March alone were murdered, including an ambassador. A brand new appointment to the cabinet was murdered the very day he was appointed. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield the floor for questions.
Okay, do we have questions?
You give us a lot. It's awful hard to grasp everything all you're saying, and a lot of it's very new for us.
Yes, sir.
Going to Italy and the Leonardo, if I understanding what you're saying, is that satellite there can send the codes and they can affect and change elections, not only in the United States, but around the world. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, sir.
So, you have just seen that. What I'm going to attempt to do is show you something else now, right? So I'm going to share this tab instead. Someone else asked her a question. I'm going to make sure, hopefully you're going to see this all right. I'll see if I can bring it up on full screen. Hopefully you can hear all of this.
Go ahead.
Thank you. And so who ultimately stands to benefit from frauding the election?
Oh, fantastic question, Senator. Thank you for asking, because I really marvel at my training as a political scientist from Florida State University. I never thought I'd ever have to know why they were teaching me the words coup d'etat. And today I am absolutely floored that I have to say them and use it. But when you can control a country and a country's election, it affects everything and everybody. Today we're looking at, countries falling all over the place, and the United States government sometimes involved, as we know, right? Everyone knows the CIA has been involved in activities of this nature in the past in other countries. We don't like their dictator, so we put in someone we like. So this, to me, is a situation where America, we're the greatest nation on the earth. And we should cherish that. But taking us down benefits many other countries. And the fact that we were able to give you evidence from the DNI Radcliffe that China was already engaged in infiltrating your computer system.
DNI Radcliffe had already put all this information through. What's really important, people, is that you also understand one of the reasons why the British government kept wanting to take down Rumble is because information flows from people like me that are watching all these different people. I reported on this video 5 years ago, whenever it was made, right? I was showing people then what was going on. They took down my YouTube channel 3 times. They took down completely my Twitter account twice, right? And it makes it so less and less people are hearing your voice, right? The only people who've never took us down, and the British keep trying to take down Rumble, right? The only place that hasn't censored us so far is Rumble.
There's a good place to look right there is China. And then, is it true that China manufactured some of the equipment? Well, we already know that's true. So as you start to look at global warfare, and I know this isn't your job and you guys are being stretched and pushed into something that's far bigger.
Just to make sure you're all aware of this, there are other people that can interfere with the production process of electronic equipment. I'm not suggesting they did on this occasion with that equipment, but I am certainly telling you that Israel intercepted a number of text messaging devices. They used to be called pagers. Sent them to Lebanon, and a number of people, they blew up into people's faces. So as the text went off, they pulled it out of their pocket, they look at the thing, and it goes off in their face. All all of those text pages were intercepted through the production, and a bomb timing detonating electronic device was placed in them. And then they went through the normal shipping process to be shipped to the people that received them.
But we have to look at the international affairs impact and how these other nations that want us gone and dead, like Iran. Oh, did I mention? This is where the connection point should be for you. The Iranian, the gentleman Mankata, who was in the picture, he actually is the liaison from Italy for their chamber to Qatar, Iran, and China. And he is the head of Fatah. So you have to understand this is about global control. And if that is the mechanism they use to take down America, and they came right into Kansas and jimmied your votes, I think you have a right to know.
Thank you. Other questions?
Listen to this question.
Not seeing any. If you want to pass forward your 46 list, we'll send that out to the committee. And
Oh, did I mention? And infiltrate these governments.
Benefit from frauding the election.
I would say probably the reverse, that there might be harm, but I can't speak to that because I think it's
Benefit from frauding the election.
Oh, fantastic question, Senator. Thank you for asking, because I really marvel at my training as a political scientist from Florida State University. I never.
So just to make sure everyone's got that, now what I'm going to do is take you on to something else, which is just as important. If I can show you this now. Don't forget, we have got Keir Starmer sitting in China at the moment, looking absolutely fucking terrified about what is just about, and they literally look terrified. Well, don't be surprised if America did launch a team to pick up certain individuals in the UK that they believe are responsible, and if Keir Starmer's one of them, you will. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm just telling you, don't be surprised, right? But there's something else I want to show you, which is equally as important. Someone called Sidney Powell, and anyone who doesn't know Sidney Powell, she's the lawyer with one of the lawyers in America with the greatest integrity I've ever seen. She actually says that when people are found guilty, she gets a knot in the pit of her stomach because she believes in liberty and freedom, but she still has to do what's right in law, right? She has sent this message out today. Good morning indeed, Ed Martin, Department of Justice. If you don't know who Ed Martin is, and he has just basically said, good morning, America, how are you, right? Sidney Powell is working with Ed Martin. Ed Martin has been put in charge of election security and prosecutions for the United States of America. So anyone out there thinks that nothing is happening, some of the people I'm seeing in the background attacking President Trump, listen, some things he does, we don't know why and what's going on, and some of the things he goes on is a gut instinct, and a gut instinct is to do something maybe that some people won't like, maybe it will look odd. Getting back to Palestine and Israel at the moment, remember one thing, when everyone says he is a puppet of Israel, remember one thing, right? Israel does not want a two-state solution in the Levant. They absolutely do not want a two-state solution in the Levant. They want from the river to the sea, or whatever they describe it as, right? President Trump is saying no. it is a two-state solution. It's the only way we can deal with it, right? So, and I'm talking about Israel would assassinate people who were two-state solution or promoting that, right? So just to make sure you've all got that on your screen, Sidney Powell, attorney, author, gladiator, right? And that is her account, has sent a message out today. Good morning indeed. Ed Martin, Department of Justice, and Ed, I'm going to sneeze, Ed Martin has sent a picture out with them two together, right? And certainly Sidney Powell looks like she's on the election fraud team with her mass, and I do mean mass, of evidence of fraud. And then below that, someone says, release the Kraken. Good morning indeed. There you go. Right? Why I'm sneezing, I don't know. What do you all think of that? So I'm going to go to I haven't seen any of the chat at the moment. I might have to knock my camera out a sec. I should really put the studio thing on. Let me put that one on. No, I'm not putting that one on because I'm like that. I'm still here. Oh. Hopefully I don't have another sneezing fit. Right, I'm back after. I should have muted that as well. Tell me what you think of that. Right. So we've currently got over 500 people watching. I do need you to hit the like button. Tonight has been a massively information. When I see things and I can put it together and show you, but it's having that information and be able to put it, and definitely where it's things that I've covered in the past. So I've covered this in detail in the past, right? The British do not like it. And if anyone's seen the FISA conspiracy about the British, what happened? It was a documentary we did in London. It was well received by the public. It's on Rumble. It was taken down completely on YouTube. My point to you, right, is you need to watch it because there are a number of things tying together the British with interfering with elections and specifically Donald Trump, including there was a video that I put out that showed the British at a conference saying that they needed to get control of Donald Trump. In other words, that he wasn't, and their words were, he is not house trained, right? As if he's some sort of dog, and should be coming back to their whistle, right? There's many things that he said, but in the past, also at the G7 summit, I think it was in 2018, when asked a question, and this is specific, he was asked a question by the press, who is going to be your main trading partner? Is it going to be Great Britain or is it going to be the European Union? And he said, let's talk about England. I guess it's going to be England. No one ever mentions England anymore. Why is that? Right? Well, understand it is England that is under attack. Right? So just to make sure, why is there a 1 come out in the... someone asked a question and asked for a 1. We all have it. Kew Gardens. Starmer's going to be ex-Ping rent boy. Yeah, you're not. You're probably right there. Let me have a look. Good evening, Gooner Mum. Gooner Mum's out there. Everyone's out there. So, tell me what you think so far. One of the things I'm going to say to people again, listen, I do not watch the TV, But also I don't get sucked into these silly conspiracies by people, right? Why is everyone putting ones out there? Someone tell me what the question was. Mo is going to sheepdog. Oh, right, there was a donation. Thank you very much for the donation. I didn't see it. I'm not interested in promoting any form of propaganda. And there is loads and loads and loads. It's almost and I want you to listen to this, right? If I was to tell you 10 lies, but one of them sounds like the truth, and you really want to believe it, and you pick it up, and then you say that this is the truth to someone, but all 10 things was a lie, right? That is the level of propaganda out there at the moment. Not just by the BBC, but by alternative media. Alternative media is not just... So don't forget, you can lie by omission. If you don't tell people what you know to be true and is a massive story because no one else is covering it, right? That is fraud. That is propaganda. That is lying by omission, right? That's what these other people are doing. I've never been about that. It's a bit like Lucy Letby. Before most people were even talking about the fact that she was set up and the fact that it was a complete lie and the fact that she was innocent. From the evidence I had seen and what I was reading and what I was researching, I come to the conclusion very early on, that the whole thing was a setup. That her judge was crooked, her defence counsel was crooked, and the prosecutor was crooked. And the jury was fed a bunch of lies, right? And an absolute corrupt case was made against her. Why? Because she was a whistleblower and she was whistleblowing on the hospital in the constituency, of Runcorn and Hillsby. And on our campaign, I spoke about that, right? Everyone out there who went to that campaign and see me on video will know that I spoke about that. Are you all with me with that one, right? I was the only candidate that was doing it. I was the only candidate that put out leaflets, which did not get delivered, talking about the rape and torture gangs, and that the consequence for that is the Criminal Justice Act 1988, Section 134, torture, where if there has been omission, acquiescence, consent, or an act that allowed it to happen by the state or any other, then that is rape and torture. And therefore, Section 6 of that particular act states that if you are found guilty on indictment, but in other words, by a jury, in a Crown Court or at the Old Bailey, the only sentence that can be passed, i.e. it is mandatory, is life imprisonment. All life sentence. Now can you see why they are shitting themselves, right? All of them things have been put out on this show to you, to the audience, right? I am not controlled opposition. You know that, right? There's plenty of people out there, alternative media, who have lied by omission. Imagine all them people out there that never mentioned the trial and the hearings and the fact that we had beat them on all them different occasions to get up there, that we had a 3-0 win in the appeal court with 3 appeal court judges, and these alternative media never mention it. Why? Because there's something else I'm going to show you, right? The only way of us taking back England is to be independent again. It's already being promoted in America and in Canada with Alberta. The fact that it is being promoted and they are now getting, I think they had 5,000 people at an event, right? Don't forget we've got our main event for various things is coming up at the Dunes Complex, right? On at the Dunes Complex, Maplethorpe, right? And that is in June of this year, right? So the 5th of June, 6th of June, 7th of June. Don't forget the other side of this because I'm going to have to show you what it is. But we are also going to be in, hopefully, I'll have it. let me see if I can find this. Let me have a look. I'm not sure if it's on there. There it is. Found it again. I have to go back and find it. But here it is. I am going to show you this. Where is it? What's up? Right. So we've got this coming up. The English Constitution Society. This is not the political party. English Constitutional and Common Law Seminar. Discover your inalienable and constitutional rights. What are they? Why they matter? And how the state is working to take them away. Find out what you can do to protect your freedoms before it's too late. The Soccer Bar, Wilkie Road, Barrow-in-Furness, Cumbria, LA14 5UQ. Saturday the 28th of February. So the end of next month, we're nearly into February now, right? It's a 6 p.m. start, £10 on the door, or pre-book the English Constitution Society.co.uk events. Main speaker, Graham Moore, a respected English constitutional scholar, more than 30 years experience, a registered paralegal, a founding member of the English Constitution Society. And at the bottom there, I want you to understand, we've got an English flag, a Scottish flag, a Northern Irish independence flag, a Welsh flag, a Cornish flag, and an Irish flag, right? And self-determination is the number one human right. I want everyone to understand that. I'm going to stop sharing that for now. Go back because I need to share something else in a couple of minutes. But we are going to get there. So, does everyone understand what I've just said? And people need to go along to that. David Clues on Unity News never covered the court case, or not even a mention from David Curtin either. So-called freedom fighters, two unionists. No, exactly. So when everyone is promoting this bullshit of Trump being involved in this, right? I want everyone to understand this. Trump is America first, right? I put out earlier on, I had all these. I've never listen. The amount of people with Trump derangement syndrome, right, where they won't even look at the facts around him, right? And again, there's someone else that's deliberately putting stuff out about Trump that makes me highly suspicious of him as an individual. Merry old England on the money there, mate. Right, thank you very much. And I'm trying to think, was there something else I wanted to show you? There's so much I do tonight. Again, things are heating up, and I do think you're going to start seeing some. If these arrests are about treason, what's going on in Iran at the moment is not just about them protests. It's because they was involved in the conspiracy to take down other countries, right? And I think everyone's going to start seeing that. Keck Rangel, greetings to you. And I think it's going to be legitimate what you're going to start seeing. We, the English, will prevail. No, we will eventually. Let me have a quick look and make sure you can all get it again. So again, Sidney Powell is out there. Let's see if I put anything out there. Elections have been stolen. Political criminals are very real. It's still happening. Yeah, no, it is still happening. It's a current situation. It's not saying it happened in the past and it's gone away. It's still going on. So, and the other thing I wanted to show you, there was so much that's on this system at the moment. There was a fantastic thread. Let me put it out in our chat. There was a fantastic thread, and I do want to cover it off before we do anything else, right? Well, shilling to the max then, say Javu. What's this? Let me put that information out there. There's some people that have got Trump derangement syndrome, literally, right? Let me have a quick look and see if I can find it again. There it is. Right, let's see if I can bring this up. So, let's see if I can put this on there. I don't know why it is, but our friends at Restore, this is nothing to do with Restore, but this went out today. I don't know how many things it's had. It's had 1,218 views so far. If Carlsberg made X post, this is a must read, right? There are parts that jump straight off the page and in your face, right? And I've sent that to Restore Britain, right? Let me have a quick look at this before something's just come in. 164. Yeah, CIA director said, we'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. William J. Casey, CIA director, 1981. Right, so again, look at the image. Justice, rights, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, etc. Why England must look back to its constitution to fix what's broken. Right. Sorry, I'm gonna have to. I've touched my glasses and now I've got a thumbprint on my glass. Shouldn't be touching your glasses. I've still got a mark on them. Bloody annoying. Does anyone wear glasses know how annoying that is? For years now, people across England, hopefully you're seeing this, have felt that something is fundamentally wrong. Wages stagnate, accountability disappears, power feels distant, unresponsive, untouchable. Ordinary people sense that decisions affecting their lives are being made about them, not with them, often without consent, debate, or consequence. This isn't accidental, and it didn't happen overnight. So this is Andy the Gabby Cabby that sent this out. To understand how we got here and how we get out, we must do something modern politics desperately avoids. Look backwards. Not out of nostalgia, but out of necessity. England once had a constitution that limited power. We still have. It's just not enforced. England is not a country without a constitution. What it lacks today is respect for one and enforcement of that constitution. The English constitution was never a single written document. It was a body of principles, rights, restraints built over centuries through struggle, precedent, and bloodshed. Among its cornerstones, the Magna Carta, 1215, and prior to that, you had the Charter of Rights. Common law derives, and so it limited the arbitrary power. Common law rights derived from custom and precedent and not government permission. Petition of right, limits on taxation and imprisonment. Bill of Rights, supremacy of law over rulers. And Act of Settlement 1701, independence of the judiciary. Together, these formed a system where power flowed upwards from the people, not downward from the state. Crucially, many of these rights were understood to be inalienable, inherited, not granted. Inalienable rights are not gifts from government. An inalienable right is one you possess by virtue of being free. It cannot be voted away, suspended for convenience, balanced out of existence, or revoked by ministerial decree. Under common law, rights existed before Parliament and outside the state. Government's role was simple: to protect those rights, not redefine them. That principle has been quietly abandoned. How bad law slowly subverted the Constitution. The greatest damage to English liberty didn't arrive with with tanks or coups. It arrived with paper. Statute by statute, regulation by regulation, emergency by emergency, each time the public was told it's temporary, it's for safety, it's proportionate, it's necessary. And each time president shifted. Bad law often has three defining traits. 1, it bypasses consent. 2, it overrides common law protections. And 3, it concentrates power in the executive. Over time, Parliament stopped acting as a restraint on power and became a delivery mechanism for it. Parliamentary sovereignty replaced popular sovereignty. One of the most dangerous myths in modern Britain is that Parliament is sovereign in an absolute sense, and it is a myth. It is a lie. There is no authority for that. In fact, the authorities say the reverse. Historically, that was never true. Parliament was sovereign under law, not above it. Its authority was legitimate only insofar as it respected the ancient rights of the people. Today, parliamentary sovereignty is treated as unlimited, even when laws criminalise peaceful assembly, restrict speech, enable surveillance without suspicion, impose penalties without trial. This is not evolution. It is constitutional erosion. The common law has been pushed aside. Common law once acted as a shield, slow, cautious, precedent-driven. Statute law is fast, political, and reactive. In recent decades, statute has increasingly overridden common law protections instead of working alongside them. Rights, once defended by judges, are now subject to ministerial guidance, statutory instruments, and regulatory bodies insulated from public accountability. The result? Less certainty, less protection, and more discretion for the state. Discretion is the enemy of liberty. Why looking back is the only way forward. We cannot fix modern problems using frameworks that caused them. Reclaiming constitutional principles does not mean rejecting progress. It means restoring limits, clarity, and accountability. It means remembering that. Law exists to restrain power. Rights do not come from Parliament. Consent matters, and liberty is inherited, not licensed. The English Constitution was designed precisely for times like these, when authority expands faster than trust. This is not radical. It is restorative. Calling for constitutional restoration is often dismissed as extreme. It isn't. What is extreme is a system where power expands endlessly, rights are conditional, accountability evaporates, and law serves politics instead of justice. Looking back is not regression. It is re-anchoring. And until England remembers where its rights came from, which is why the seminars, why the major seminar or the convention that is happening in the Dunes complex in Dunes, why it's so important. I want as many people to turn up there as they can. If rights can be taken by bad law, they were never treated as inalienable to begin with, right? And there it is. And then there's other people putting out various bits of information there. There's one other thing I want to show you, which is important, and I'm going to cover it off. Hopefully, Willsey is on there. Someone should have it on there somewhere, hopefully. I think it was the freedom movement. Is there a freedom movement out there? I wanted to show you the picture of what happened with Willsy today, because he was, there it is. So again, Will Cole is out there. He's been, I just want to show you this before I do anything else.
Well, they ordered.
He was out there doing a change my mind situation out there. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not really bothered about all this. I just want you to see what's going on, right?
We have come.
Yeah.
We don't like it because they're trying to take our land.
I have the right to conduct a citizen's arrest, and he is under arrest. I'm retaining him under my police powers. He's not going anywhere. He can sit here until the police arrives. He's sitting here. He's biting me. He's biting me. He's not going anywhere. He's just attacked me. He's under arrest.
Who are you arresting, bro?
I don't. I just get his arm. Get his other arm. Get his other arm. No, this man is under arrest.
Now he's just had stuff. He's now just been assaulted again, right? So he's been assaulted. That young woman just threw stuff in his face, right? This is at a university in London. You've got mainly foreigners there, right? They're trying to stop. By the way, the police turn up.
Oi, you fucking get off him. Get off him. Cop, you get off him. He's just assaulting me. This is the left guys who've currently just been assaulted for having debates with people. We've just been insulted by a number of people. Come over, flip the table, smashing camera equipment. I grabbed the man who did it, put him under citizen's arrest. Asked for the police to be called. University staff have come in, assaulted me, even though I clearly indicated he's under a citizen's arrest. I had him there, I said, call the police, call the police, call the police. So I requested that you lot were called. Yeah. And the university staff have come in and assaulted me and helped him get away.
Britain needs mass deportations. This is my organisation, very similar to...
I mean that's going to roll people up, isn't it? If you don't want things to kick off, I suggest you don't create a situation.
So we have to live in a society where we can't say what a leading polling party in the country
Let
is.
me see the footage.
Right, let me just stop it there. What that copper just said is already been proven in law to be wrong. There is actually a case, in fact, there's 2 or 3 cases where the judges in the High Court have said that so if someone comes along to an event like that, disrupts it, assault, which that clearly was because it's also a threat of violence, and damage their equipment by throwing it up in the air, etc., that becomes an arrestable offence for the person who is interfering with the protest and discussion which was happening outside that university. So again, there's already cases that prove this, and I've used them in the past, and 2 people I know who got not guilties over that, right? So all I'm doing is just showing you that. He was arrested at Willsey. I understand I mean, it was a serious, nasty, horrible arrest of Willsey. I believe he has now been released because he's been on someone else's show and spoke to him. But he did, so it's perfectly legal if you're assaulted in the street, or if you see a crime being committed, or the crime is being committed against you, to do a citizen's arrest. What the police have done is aided the perpetrator, right? That is highly illegal. And their attitude changed when they knew what the debate was about, which means the arrest of Willsey was political. So just to make sure everyone's aware of this, all I can do is just say that people need to understand what's going on in the background. They're not police; they're thick robots. No, I know. What you've actually got in the capital of England. So London is lost, right? The Metropolitan Police are acting as the Red Guard, and if you don't know who the Red Guard is, they're the people that really took control during the Communist Revolution in 1917. Right. Any other questions? Policy enforcers. Piggy refusing to do his job. Yeah. Political motivated arrest. Absolutely. DD, love the irony so long as it gets them. One of the police said it was illegal to insult someone. Is not that no, that's completely untrue. Khan's message is a kill free speech. Stinking police. That constable was trying to give himself an easy day and look good job his bosses. Nothing to do with everything and the thing. There's a new IRG, scum pedos. As long as it tastes like Sakak, I don't know what that is. Politicised police, yeah, very much so. But again, what you're seeing is the extreme left, who are communists. They always cover their faces. He's come and turned the table over. He's been arrested. He's been a citizen. So it's everyone's right in this country as an Englishman. If you see a crime being committed, or it's been committed directly against you, you have the right to citizen's arrest. It's every Englishman's duty to stop crime. And for the police to arrest Wilsey is completely wrong. And to say what they said during, I mean, that to me is more than a reprimand. They should sack that police constable. That was a political statement. The police are utterly clueless. They're not clueless. They're trained. They're trained to do this. This is a deliberate subversion of policing. They actually psychometric test these people to make sure that they can be, and they've removed the 2-year probation period and the constitutional training deliberately. And then what they do is they give you a little bit of training. You get your warrant card and off you go. That's it. And there's lots of foreigners doing it, and they're not allowed to. Only half the people here have hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button. It is crucially important, right? So hit the like button, even if you're watching on catch up. Don't forget to share, because sharing is caring, and subscribe. Crucially important. Let me just go and see if I can find something else. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know where it would be. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. Let's put that on there. All right, there's that one. All right, there you go. That copy image. Let me put that off the screen. Let me see. Someone said they wanted to see me with Lennox Lewis. So I am going to show you me with Lennox Lewis. Let's see if I can put that on there. And for obvious reasons, I am the good-looking one on the right-hand side. Let me have a quick look. This was in a gym we used to go in. Let me show you if I can show you that now. There it is on your screen. There you go. Can all you see that? So there's me on the right hand side with a black leather jacket on. When my hair was dark, and my hair, I had more of it, obviously. There is Lennox Lewis, and there on the left is my brother. Just to let you know. And stop showing that. Go back to you all see that, by the way. Night. Right, I am going to say good night and God bless to everyone. Don't forget all these events. We're going to need loads of help publicising it on all the social media events. I'm going to do a little video just talking about the Constitutional Convention that's coming up in Maplethorpe, and then I need to book some accommodation there as well. Let me have a quick look. Do a great petition on the webpage, in fact, it would be interesting. Let me have a look. So there's loads of things going on at the moment. Like I said, don't forget, if you're on Twitter, come and follow me at English Exit. And like I say, there's lots of things going on. That's it. Good night. God bless. I will see you tomorrow evening, same time, 8 p.m.-ish. I will be on at 8 p.m, hopefully. But it depends what else I'm doing today. But the other thing I was going to say briefly to anyone out there, I'm looking for somewhere else to rent, right? So it's got to be 1 bedroom, preferably ground floor. I prefer it in Devon. I want to stay in Devon because Devon is really important to the English and to the English Constitution, etc. But it's finding that place, right? It's got to be in a small, not a city, but a small town. It's got to be decent, but it's got to be my place, right? So if anyone knows of any of them places, I'm looking for somewhere. That's it. Any help I can get to do that, it would be grateful. So if you know anyone, let me know. That's it. I'm off. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. You are potentially the greatest audience out there. Thank you for everyone who's followed, watched, and we are going to see, I believe, some action very, very, very soon. I believe the action is going to happen before, or the indictments for either treason or election fraud are going to happen before the midterms in America. And I think that is why there's a big panic going on. And the strangest thing ever was Keir Starmer going to China, and China saying any Brit can have free access to China. Almost as if they wanted some people to flee to China. And I believe they've built models of some of our towns and cities, haven't they? There you go. Right, I'll see you anon, and I'll see you tomorrow night. That's it. Good night. God bless.